A very good morning to all. Girls with dreams become women with vision. On March 8th, every year, International Women's Day is celebrated to recognize women who are successful in achieving their vision. This day also calls for bringing gender equality in society to empower women in all aspects in today's world. The theme for International Women's Day 2021 is Choose to Challenge. Great Indian women have challenged the status quo and inspired the world with their achievements, like Dr. Gagandeep Kang, first female Indian virologist to get elected as a Fellow of the Royal Society, Dr. Tessie Thomas, Missile Woman of India, first ever woman scientist to lead a missile project in India, Dr. Ritu Karidal, Rocket Woman of India, Mangal Mani, Polar Woman of ISRO, Chandrima, a biologist, first ever woman president of Indian National Science Academy, Roshni Nadar Malhotra, chairperson of HCL Technologies, first woman to lead a listed IT company in India, and many such others. Their success stories inspire us to state the gender is a pre-written book. Our actions are the pen and our life is paper. We are so much greater, stronger, kinder to create history and not to be created by it. So this year, challenge oneself to break the convention further. Happy International Women's Day to all. Now, I deem it my pleasure to invite Dr. S.V. Kota Reddy, Vice Chancellor VIT, to deliver the welcome address.
Wishing you all a very happy Women's Day. Respected Honorable Chancellor, Dr. G. Vishwanathan sir, Vaccine Godmother of India and Professor and Laboratory Director, Research Laboratory, EMC.
Okay.
Senior Director, Oracle Corporation, USA, Mrs.
कौन जानी है कि इसमें दिखने का तो कैसा?
Vice President VIT, Dr. Shekhar Vishwanathan, Executive Director VIT, Dr. Sanja Pentareddy, MD Vellore Online Services, Mr. P. Srikanth, Registrar VIT AP University, Dr. CLV Shivkumar, faculty and staff members, and my dear students. On behalf of VIT AP University, I welcome you all to this International Women's Day celebrations. On this occasion of Women's Day, we need to reflect on the extraordinary roles played by women in almost every walk of life. There is a very old and famous saying, behind every successful man, there stands a woman. On this occasion, I would like to talk about a legendary woman, Madam Rajeshwari Amma, wife of our beloved Honorable Chancellor Sir. Though she is not alive to witness this event today, her contribution to the development of VIT and support extended to the family were unforgettable. Recently, I was reading a book, Stars and Saplings, a biography of Dr. G. Vishwanathan, written by Dr. Pushpa Kuru. In the biography, our Chancellor Sir mentioned that she never ever made any demands on him. In 43 years of married life, he supported him immensely to
You're not audible.
To serve and support her husband and take care of her own needs and those of children, moving to pursue larger and nobler goals. A great woman to remember on this occasion. Today, it is an honor to have our beloved Honorable Chancellor, Dr. G. Vishwanathan sir. He is a great visionary, the leader of people, parliamentarian, educator, philanthropist, entrepreneur, a great orator. In other words, he is an institution by himself. He continues to steer the VIT University towards expansion and excellence. Hearty welcome to you, sir. We are delighted to have with us the world-renowned virologist, Madam Dr. G. Gagandeep Kang, Professor and Director, the Wellcome Trust Research Laboratory, CMC Vellore. She is the first woman from India to be elected as a Fellow of the Royal Society and also the first Indian woman to be elected to Fellowship of the American Academy of Microbiology. He is recognized and honored as Vaccine Godmother of India. We are all fortunate enough that we are getting an opportunity to listen to her today. Hearty welcome to you, madam. We are truly honored to have with us Madam Mrs. Sailaja Malreddy, VIT Alumna 1991 Electronics and Communication Engineering Branch. She is Senior Director, Oracle Corporation, USA. She has continued to embody our institution's core values: focus, ethics, excellence, development, and respect in our professional as well as personal journey. A warm welcome to you, madam. It is my honor to welcome Dr. Shekhar Vishwanathan, sir, Vice President. He has been instrumental in spearheading the progress of the university. He always admires every achievement of VIT AP University. Sir, under your able leadership, VIT AP will reach new heights. Hearty welcome to you, sir. It is my joy to welcome Madam Dr. Sanja Pentareddy, Executive Director, VIT. She is instrumental and guiding force in organizing this event today. Madam is playing a vital role in holistic development of the students of VIT AP University. A warm welcome to you, madam. I would like to extend a warm welcome to Mr. P. Srikanth, MD Vellore Online Services. Getting us Vaccine God Madam Dr. Kang as our today's chief guest. A cordial welcome to Dr. CLV Shivkumar sir, Registrar, VIT AP University. A hearty welcome to Deans, HODs, section heads, directors, faculty and staff members. A warm welcome to all the students who are attending today's event online. Before I conclude, I would like to appreciate the efforts of Dr. CLV Shivkumar sir, Registrar, and Madam Dr. Anupama Namburi, Assistant Director, Students Welfare, and other faculty and staff members to organize this event successfully. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I extend a very warm and cordial welcome to each one of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. It's my great honor to introduce Mrs. Sailaja Malreddy, Senior Director, Oracle Corporation, USA. Sailaja Malreddy is a VIT alum, ECA 1991 batch, who has continued to embody our institution's core values: focus, ethics, excellence, development, and respect in her professional and personal journey. Sailaja, in her 23 years career with Oracle USA, had the focus and excellence that enabled her to progress through increasing and impactful responsibilities as Senior Director. She currently manages the software development operations of Oracle's most stable product, e-business suite, and manages staff from across the globe. Through her professional journey, she has mentored aspiring software professionals with strong ethics and work culture. She has been an advocate for VIT in the US and proudly cherishes her experience at VIT. She is a relentless volunteer and Bay Area based nonprofit organization and a proud mother of two young daughters. It's my pleasure to invite Sailaja Malreddy ma'am to address the gathering.
Thank you very much for that wonderful introduction. Hello, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to be here today. My name is Sailaja Malreddy. Probably a lot of my classmates would recognize me as Duvuru Sailaja. That was my maiden name when I was in VIT. It's a privilege to be with you all and speak for International Women's Day. When I was asked by Sandhya to be part of this event, I felt honored as VIT is very close to my heart. I was part of our institution's infancy years and had first-hand experience of the struggles and accomplishments. I decided today not to give a speech, but actually talk about my story and experiences. My journey and life experience are very relatable and probably similar to thousands of women who migrated to the US. I felt like just sharing it all with you all. Growing up in India, I felt blessed to have been part of a family who considered education as the most important asset, whether it was for a girl or a boy. My mother did not have the opportunity to pursue a career, and she always equally encouraged me and my brother to work towards that goal. After I completed my undergrad at VEC, in those days it was called Vellore Engineering College, I got married and came to California. I continued with my education and pursued a master's in computer science. My husband, who is as fond of education as my mother, teamed up with her to push me towards a PhD, but they were not successful as I was too eager to get into the workforce. Looking at the panel of speakers today, the first thing I noticed there was I'm the only one who doesn't have a doctor in front of my name. So 10 years into my career, I actually called my mom one day and said, your generation was better off because you had clear-cut roles as you are a homemaker and my dad is the provider. In my generation, women end up with double the work, managing home and work. It can be exhausting and overwhelming. I voiced to her about how hard it is to raise two little girls in a completely different culture while dealing with the demands at work. She listened to me very patiently and reminded me how easy it is to give up and how rewarding it is to face the challenges and succeed. I can't thank her enough for always being there for me. It is safe to say that last year or so has been unprecedented. I'm sure you have heard that time and time again. These times have allowed for a lot of reflection. I've been reflecting on the experiences I have had in my life and lessons learned from those experiences. And so today I would like to share with you some pieces of advice that I have for women like yourselves. First and foremost, it's important to believe in yourself. We live in a world where women bear the burden of many facets of society, like do better, look better, dress better, work better, be a better mom, friend, sister, daughter. It's easy to fall into the mindset of pleasing others. And I'm sure we have all felt that pressure at some point or another in our lifetimes. But what I've learned is that the moment we stop living our lives for other people or society is the moment that we begin to find who we truly can be and focus on what makes us happy. One of my favorite quotes is from Eleanor Roosevelt, and she said, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. She's exactly right. It's in your hands to define who you want to be in your lifetime, and you have the power to do so. Don't let anyone take that away from you. I'm sure all of you are incredibly smart women. Here you are at a prestigious school pursuing your higher education. It's been a few years, couple of decades actually, since I was in your shoes and reflecting on my career over the span of last 2+ decades. I know that there has been one important factor in achieving what I want out of this life, a support system. As you move forward in your careers, adventures, and more, I encourage you to find a support system, whether that be family, friends, or mentors. Find people who invest their time in you and vice versa. I'm a strong believer that anything that can be done alone can be done better as a team. It's important to find a team of people who will be there for you throughout your goals, trials, and tribulations. Very interestingly, I found out that support system doesn't have to be our elders or even peers. Sometimes it can be kids too. Let me share a very small story with you. When my older daughter was in middle school, out of guilt, one day I asked her if she felt that I should quit my job or go part-time in order to spend more time with her. She said that she loves the fact that I work and looks up to me as a role model. To this day, those words of encouragement push me to be a strong mom. And on that note, remember how incredibly important it is to continue to support other women. It is important to not only have a support system, but be a support system. I would say that Sandhya and I have been each other's support for several years. We are actually friends from middle school. On this note, I would like to share a poem actually written by a friend of mine. Her name is Aparna Gandhari. She's a major support system in my life. She called it, "And Yet She Persisted." I'm a woman in an unequal world. I'm made to stand on a tilted scale. I try to weigh it down with all I can give. I place my courage, I place my hard work, I place my intelligence, I place my education, I place my dedication, and told to hush. I can only try as much, the scales remain tilted. But I will hope, I will shape, I will expect, I will stand up, I will succeed. I know I will still dream, and I will persist. I will balance the scale. As you continue through your college education and further, I encourage you to find what you're passionate about. A lot of women can tend to put their lives or goals on hold for the people around them. However, I want you to recognize the importance of finding your own passion, whether that passion be in the workplace, a specific occupation, homemaking, a combination of all the above, or something entirely different. And the best way to begin to discover what you're passionate about is to find trying new experiences. Being far away from home, my husband and I wanted to stay connected to our roots. We both started volunteering at our local Hindu community and cultural center 10 years back. Over the last decade, I discovered my own passion for serving the community and bringing the community together. From being a volunteer to now being an active member of the board, I have learned that it is very important to be part of the community. Apart from work and family life, it is necessary to find your outlet in order to be connected to the world. Seek out new experiences, try different opportunities, put yourself outside of your comfort zone so that you can find what works for you and your life. Because, like I said, as women, it's imperative that we don't put our own lives, goals, ambitions, and passions on hold for anyone else. Basically, I strongly believe that, we all think that we are very, very busy with work and home and raising the kids. But I think in the middle of all that, it's very important to have a very good group of friends and social life. That's how you build your own support system, and that will be your outlet. I have two young daughters. One is in high school and the other one graduated from college. Seeing both of them grow up and become women, find out who they are and what they want to do in their lives has been such a journey. And each and every day, I hope to remind them of these things, to believe in themselves, to find their support system, and to pursue their passions. I hope they can take these ideal pieces of advice and tidbits to look forward and build a better world. In the same way, I give advice to my daughters and the young girls in the audience today. I would actually like to share some words of wisdom with the young men here. As you navigate through life, be like a friend with the women in your lives. And if you respect and share your partner's ambitions and goals, the relationship will be a healthy and fruitful one. You all have a perfect role model in Shekhar Vishwanathan. We live in a world today where women are in the forefront of everything. In 2017 and 2018, International Women's Day was the most discussed topic on Facebook by millions. And this is just the beginning of a change that I hope to see continue in my lifetime and prosper throughout the rest of yours. We as women are capable, smart, tactical, caring beings. I hope that as you move forward in your education, careers, and life paths, that you take some of this advice into consideration. And remember, although today may be the official International Women's Day, it's important that we celebrate ourselves every day of the year because we deserve it. Thank you all once again. I'm humbled by this honor to be here with you all and share my life story. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much,
Thank
ma'am,
you.
for sharing your story. Thank you for your words on believing oneself, how to get inspired from everyone, supporting each other, and being passionate to achieve goals and balancing life. Thank you so much, ma'am. Let's
Thank you.
watch a video on VIT girls. Thank you, ma'am.
Anupam ma'am, is it visible?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Sir, please increase the volume.
Do you have sound?
Sam's sound.
Sam, we've lost sound.
We have a surprise for Sailaja ma'am. Sam sir, could you just show it?
Shailaja ma'am, you have to guess who is this person. And just let's see. Shailaja ma'am, can you see the picture?
Oh, yes. Are you trying to embarrass me?
This is your picture of 1987 first year application when you put in VEC days.
Thank God you put the current picture, otherwise nobody would have known who it is.
So this is a surprise to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yeah, now it's my proud moment to invite Sandhya Pentardi, Executive Director, VIT, to delve with the special address.
I'm honored and I'm actually humbled to be in the presence of her genius, Dr. Gangadeep Kang. And Madam, you are an inspiration to generations. And the passion that you show in serving the kids and citizens of India and the world to maintain the health of the world is amazing. And I hope many youngsters take you as a role model and show their passion in whatever they do. Happy Women's Day, everybody. And I have a message of my own to share with you today. And thank you for having me. And are you able to see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes? Okay, all right, that's great. So we talk about equality, and the thing to know is we are all born equal. Doesn't matter whether we're women, we're men, or the white, black, brown, belong to, in our minds, upper caste or lower caste or whatever. We are all equal, and we know that. right? We know that, and we know that in our head up here, but do we know that in our heart? I think it's important to actually know that in our hearts, because it's when you know and when you assume the equal rights that you can actually enforce the equal rights, and people will respect you for that. Um, so the thing to see is, you know, it's not just about at workplace or in education, but it's in society too. As Sailaja was saying rightly earlier, it's about how you project yourself and your commitment, and know that you know, you have to respect yourself, and you have to take the support of everyone you can to achieve your dreams. Don't let anybody stop you by telling you that you're less than equal. Um, I have a request today. I have a prayer to the parents of today, the parents of tomorrow. The prayer is to treat your you know, girl child the same way as you would the boy child, and vice versa. Treat your boys also the same way you would your girls. And I make this request humbly because see, just think about it, right? While you're what to say, enthusiastically raise your boy child and encouraging him to prepare for the toughest entrance exams, be it VIT or IIT or whatever. While you're encouraging, are you making your daughter to support you in the kitchen with you? Are you? You may not be. Is your neighbor doing that? It's a story that we see very often. And how do you think that this will reflect on their lives? So what I ask you is, bring your boy also to the kitchen and encourage your girl child also to prepare for those entrance exams. You know, when I look at the VIT stats, they're lopsided. The number of women that write entrance exam is far less than the men. And I looked at it. I did some sample research of my own, and I found that parents of today, even today, are encouraging their boys to, you know, achieve in their career life more than their girls. And I am, like Sailaja said, I am a fortunate product of you know, a wonderful woman and a man who raise their children equally, and I'm proud to say that. Why then am I seeing in this generation that inequality to persist in? So, so this is a prayer to raise them equally. And by raising men and women equally, you not only do a favor to your girl child, but to your boy child also. So teach him how to cook, teach him how to sew a button, teach her to, you know, correct a leaky faucet. These are life skills that both girls and boys should know, that they will know and they will benefit through their life. So life is not just about, you know, going out in the real world, getting a job and doing something out of it, right? It is also about being able to navigate through the relationships, to live through the day-to-day challenges, to raise children, to be, you know, role models to our youth and so on. So raise your children equally, and you know, they'll have much more fulfilled lives that way. Um, So, so I asked the parents then, you know, to actually, we all have equal property rights in most parts of the world, right? But are they really implemented? I mean, do parents really treat their children equally while giving out their property, regardless of gender? I pray that they should do that. And forget spending a lot on a girl's marriage, or you know, forget dowries and all that. The girl is not asking for that. If you want to do it, don't take it out of her share of wealth, please. So instead of lavishly spending on the marriage, think of giving her something that she can fall back on in times of crisis. So, and brides to be, you don't have to bribe. You're wonderful as you are, and you're going to get a great husband. Just make sure you don't bribe your husband and set a wrong precedent at the beginning of your life itself. Please do not bribe. It's not worth it. And men, what does it say of you if you take a bribe and marry your partner? It doesn't speak highly of you. So just stop that system. It's the greatest social evil. We have to put an end to it. In my generation, I thought that we put an end to it. And I wasn't proud to see many of my friends succumb to that social evil, regardless their own belief system. And now in my youngsters, I'm still seeing it. And that's really something to be ashamed of. Now, when you're looking at gender stereotypes, you have to think about how it is actually affecting young women's career prospects. How you get hired and how you get promoted, etc. So let me ask you a question. When somebody tells you a pilot, a doctor, a CEO, a vice president, or president, what comes to your mind? You picture a man, right? Whether you're a woman or a man, you picture a man for these roles. That's how much damage the society has done to us. And the problem in picturing a man in these roles is this. When you're hiring for a role, especially for a role that had glass ceiling for many years, you're okay thinking of a man in that. And when a woman applies, or when you're considering a woman, there's a question in your mind, can she do it? There is a doubt. And that doubt doesn't come when you're actually considering a man. But when a woman is applying, you think twice about it. So that's a problem with gender stereotypes. So I challenge you to wipe out those gender stereotypes. And there is a small weapon that you can use in your day-to-day language. And that is called the she pronoun. So how does that help? See, when you're speaking about a hero, don't say. When you're talking, when you're just saying a doctor, a virologist, a scientist, say she instead. So force the community to think about girls and women in these roles and not just men. So it goes a long way. Who knows? God may be a she. Yes? So Sailu also alluded to this before, the pressure on the modern women to play many roles, and you would have seen this poster before, the Supermoms poster, and many versions of it, right? With a broom in one hand, a computer in another, baby in one hand, and a cooking spoon in another, and so on and so forth. And actually, a lot of men congratulate us for effectively playing multiple roles. And maybe you deserve the congratulations. But you know what? I'm a human being, and I see you as human beings. And I'm more passionate about your health than about, being a supermom or a superhero. So what I ask of you is try to have balance in your life, balance upon yourself, think about your health. You deserve to be at peace. You deserve to have your own dreams, and you want to watch TV, want to read a book, write poetry, or do some embroidery, or go play cricket. Do all that. So how do you do that? By the support system that Sailu was talking about earlier, and also by ensuring that the people play their roles at home. Let your husband pitch in, let your mother pitch in, father pitch in, and anybody who lives pitch in, your daughters, your sons, and so on. So you're not alone. You're not the only homemaker. You're one of the homemakers at home. Everybody in your family is a homemaker. If you make them do that, then you get your own time for a little more time for what you want to do. Whether it's do that assignment at work that you've signed up for, or watch that movie, or go and play paintball, or whatever your passion is. Okay, now this is a joke that I think most of us have seen on WhatsApp at some point or the other, or a version thereof, but this very well depicts, right? A lot of men don't even think about it twice. It's automatic. It's subconsciously driven into us. They don't think about picking up the cups after their coffee, or, picking up after their, I don't know, when their child, messes up on the floor or whatever. But I think this is this about portrays it, right? While the husband is getting ready and everything, the wife is trying to get her 2 children ready before she gets ready herself. And at the end of the day, women are labeled, oh, women are always late. Now, we are congratulated for being good at multitasking. Guess what? Men are good at multitasking too. So today, I congratulate the boys and men for multitasking through their lives. And if they're not doing so, for multitasking for the life to come. I think, dear boys and men, you're going to be respected a whole lot if you participate in life more by taking on multiple roles, by being a great father. And many of you are actually. I salute all these men who pitch in at work, in life, and at work equally, not just being that workaholics, but being balancing life and work. I salute you a lot, my dear men friends. So, we talk about work-life balance a lot, and especially in women's circles, this is more talked about than men's circles. And why is that so? Because a woman is the one that is struggling to keep her home at the same time as a career. And a woman tries to rise up in her job, and she has to compete with these men who are relentlessly working round the clock because their wives are taking up the burden at home. Whereas a woman has to do all that and yet compete with the roles that the men are trying to play. So that's why I say her work-life balance actually depends upon his work-life balance. What I mean by that is, if he plays a role more in life and not just work, she will be able to play a role in work. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And we have, we talked about the gender-based roles. You look at a pilot, you don't look at them, you think about a pilot and you think about, you immediately picture a male. And you think about a nurse, you may be picturing a woman. So that has to stop, because there's no shame in a man being a nurse, and it is possible for a woman to be a doctor. We all know that. We've seen many doctors. So those gender-based roles, let's get rid of that in our minds. Don't try to fit in a man into a role because you think a man can perform that better than a woman, and vice versa. Let's not be unfair to men as well. And it's okay to pick your roles. Don't succumb to social pressures. And I have 2 points in my mind regarding this. See, when you are wanting to be a homemaker, a sole homemaker, everybody's a homemaker, by the way. But if you want to be a sole homemaker and a stay-home mom, that's absolutely okay. And I will respect you 100%, and so will others. But you know what? That has to be your decision. If you decide to be a career woman, it is fine. If you want to be a stay-home mom, that is fine. And if you want to be a stay-home dad, you have all my respect. So do not succumb to social pressures. Wipe out those gender stereotypes. Do what your heart pleases, and do what is needed for yourself and your family and friends. Then what do I ask of these women who want to stay home? It doesn't matter whether you want to stay home or you want to go out. But the important thing you want to note is that to ensure you have the financial stakes in your life. Now, supposing you could be a BTech from VIT and you made this choice to just stay home and raise your kids and let your man focus on the career. You've done that, right? As did my niece, for example, which is fine. This is your choice. But are you controlling the strings to the purse? Well, you have my respect if you are, and if you're not, I have a thing to share with you. You must. Now, it is your choice that you gave up your career to benefit your family. So you have equal stakes in finances. So you don't have to have permission to buy a car, to buy a pretty dress for yourself, or to go, help that poor child. Maybe you want to sponsor a certain person. I've had this a friend of mine, a stay-home mom, said, Sandhya, I want to sponsor that child through education, but my husband is not agreeing. Actually, agreeing is not the word she used. Agreeing wouldn't have offended me. She said, my husband is not permitting me to do that. That's a sorry state of affairs. So think about what you're going to get yourself into before you sign up for that stay-home mom role. If this is the way it's going to be, don't be that person. But you can stay home if you're going to make sure that you have control of finances as much as your husband does. And it's absolutely okay to discuss. I discuss with my husband when we have big investments to make in people or in wealth or in our future. We discuss with each other, but it's not the permission that I'm seeking from him. It is the advice, or it is the argument. More than advice, it is actually argument, wisdom, and another point of opinion. And decision making is key. What do you want to be? Where do you want to live? How many children do you want to have? And what point of time you want to have those children? These are all decision making in life. And be a part of that, not just a part. If it is your decision, if it is your life decision, you should be making it. And if it is a decision in which your partner is vested, you make it together. You are equal players. That's important. You don't have to respect your parents by all means and love your husband by all means, but please don't defer decisions to them. Own your decisions, make them with advice from your parents, with help from your husband, but you have to make the decisions on your own. So, I don't look at men-women relationship as a competition. It's not. At work, at home, in life, it's a beautiful partnership. It's a beautiful partnership if you let it be. So with that message, I just want to wish you a happy Women's Day, and I want to sign off for a few brief moments. Thank you.
Thank you for your lovely words on equality of women and in raising them equally, not to be like gender stereotype. And also like men also can perform multiple roles, balancing personal and professional life. So thank you so much, ma'am, for your words, for motivating men as well for switching the roles and supporting women. Thank you so much, ma'am. I feel extremely honored to introduce the chief guest of the event, Dr. Gagandeep Kang, vaccine godmother of country, an amazing clinical scientist and virologist from India who saved lives of countless children. Gagandeep FRS was born in November 3rd, 1962, is an Indian virologist who is the professor in the Department of Gastrointestinal Sciences at CMC, Vellore, India, and was also the executive director of Translational Health Science and Technology Institute, Faridabad, for the past 4 years. She is also the current chair of the WHO Southeast Asian Region's Immunization Technical Advisory Group. Gagandeep Kang completed her Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery in 1987 and her Doctor of Medicine in Microbiology in 1991 from Christian Medical College, Vellore, and obtained her PhD in 1998. She obtained her membership of the Royal College of Pathologists and carried out postdoctoral research with Mary K. Estes at Baylor College of Medicine, Houston, and joined as a faculty in Christian Medical College, VIT, after returning back to India. She is a leading researcher with a major research focusing on viral infection in children and the testing of rotaviral vaccines. The development of 2 WHO-approved vaccines for the treatment of rotavirus, namely Rotavac with Bharat Biotech, Rotacell with Serum Institute, in collaboration with private companies, has gained her the title of Vaccine Godmother of the country. She takes pride in terming this achievement as a vaccine for India, by India, and in India. She is the first Indian woman scientist to be elected a Fellow of Royal Society Affairs in 359 years of history of this scientific academy. She is awarded as Woman Bioscientist for the year 2006, Fellow of American Academy of Microbiology in 2010, and the Infosys Award in Life Sciences 2016. Today, in 2021, when we are in the midst of COVID-19 pandemic and in need of guidance for controlling a deadly virus infectious disease, Gagandeep's expertise has been invaluable. She has appeared on various print and TV media where her expertise opinion has been sought. Gagandeep's incredible journey has established her as an icon for not just women in science, but for scientists and scientific thought in the society. It is such a privilege to have her with us for the International Women's Day celebration as the chief guest. Now, I cordially invite Dr. Gagandeep Kang ma'am to deliver her address.
Thank you very much, Anupama, and thank you to Dr. Vishwanathan, the Chancellor, the Vice Chancellor, and the Vice President, and others for inviting me to be with you today. I think the talks from Shelja and Sandhya were truly outstanding and probably set the stage for everything that women and men in the audience really should be thinking about, not just on the occasion of International Women's Day, but every day. So switching gears a little bit, I'm going to be talking to you very briefly about epidemics and vaccines, and basically talking about where we were in the past, where we are today, and what the future holds for us. So if we think about epidemics, the past, present, and future, I think we have to go back to bubonic plague in the 14th century, where we actually are able to look at history books and map how quickly plague moved from the southern parts of Europe to the northern parts of Europe. It took about 10 years for plague to travel that distance, and this was responsible for killing a large proportion of the world's population at that time. Now, today, things are very different. Diseases travel very much faster than plague did. And the reason for that is obvious. This is a map of flight paths around the world. So any disease that emerges in one part of the world can be in a major city on the other side of the world in 24 hours or less. We also have changed the way we live. We no longer live in rural farming communities. We live practically on top of each other in cities. And that means that if a disease can spread from human to human, it will spread very fast. Now, the challenge of epidemics is something that has become familiar to us increasingly over the past 30 years. We have had diseases that emerged from AIDS to Zika. We've had the number of outbreaks increasing, the number of diseases that come from animals into humans increasing. We've had a smaller increase in the number of diseases that are borne by vectors like mosquitoes that have come into humans, but that is also increasing as vector ranges change with time. Now, when it comes to the control of epidemics and pandemics, there is a lot that we know. When you have a disease that spreads between humans, even without vaccines, we have many measures of control. What is shown here in these spiky graphs are 4 different cities in 2003-2004, the SARS epidemic curves for those cities. As you can see, the disease comes in, it increases rapidly in number, and then it decreases. And in some places, in Singapore and in Northern America, we saw 2 peaks instead of 1. What was happening there was that the disease was being introduced, and where you knew that you could isolate a person, isolation was responsible for the decrease in transmission and for controlling the spread of disease. So for SARS, we had a big advantage. We knew that if a person came with severe respiratory symptoms, we tested them and found that it was SARS virus. Immediately getting them into isolation was going to be a good way of control, because people with SARS only became infectious after they started to have symptoms. This is not the case with SARS-CoV-2, where we know that people who don't have any symptoms at all, don't look sick at all, don't even know that they are infected, can still spread infection. So our ability to control SARS was because SARS did not spread from asymptomatic people. Our inability to control SARS-CoV-2 is because it spreads in asymptomatic people. So we've not had just SARS alone. That's one coronavirus. There have been others. We've also had Ebola in West Africa in 2014, 2015. Ebola was a disease really of rural areas in Africa. It was known from 1976 onwards. It would cause small outbreaks. It would burn itself out. But in 2014, it came into the cities. And in the cities, it started to spread from person to person. So this became the largest outbreak in history. And it killed a lot of people. The sad part about it was that actually we'd had a vaccine for Ebola from 2002, a dozen years before the outbreak started. Unfortunately, the vaccine had been made by the Public Health Agency of Canada, but it was not being made by a company because the companies did not think that there would be a market for this vaccine. Ebola was a rare disease. It affected a small number of people. You didn't know when it was going to happen. You didn't know which country it was going to happen in. So you didn't want to necessarily make a vaccine that no one was going to buy. So it took the WHO and public health agencies many, many months to get their act together to ultimately introduce vaccine trials, to test the vaccine. So even though the vaccine had been there at the beginning of the epidemic, it started to be used only about 8 months after the epidemic had really started. And it turned out that this vaccine was actually fantastic. It prevented all disease. It had 100% efficacy. It was a wonderful tool. And had we been able to use it even 6 months earlier, we could have saved a lot of lives. So, but we controlled Ebola even before the vaccine trials got started. We controlled SARS without a vaccine. So why do we think of vaccines when other approaches work? Well, prevention is really better than cure. And when you don't know the size of a public health problem that a disease is going to be, it's always good to be prepared. You can always talk about treatment, but there is challenges for new agents where drugs don't exist, where tests don't exist. And the only tools that we have are the same tools that we used in bubonic plague for 700 years. It's been identify the people with disease and take them out of circulation so that they don't spread disease. But epidemics have challenges. You need to build the ability to make a diagnosis. You need trained staff to handle it. You need hospitals that are ready. And as we've seen with SARS-CoV-2, when you turn all your resources towards one specific problem, everything else suffers as a result. So what is it that vaccines can do to disease? These are two examples of measles and meningococcus. Measles is an endemic disease present in the population. You can see that as soon as the vaccine came in, the disease declined significantly. And in New Zealand, they had an outbreak of meningococcal disease. It lasted over a decade, but once the vaccine came in, they were able to control the disease, and it has stayed under control there. Vaccines prevent 5 people from dying every minute, and this is only the deaths that we prevent. It's not all of the sickness that is prevented. Vaccines are one of the most amazing tools we have to prevent disease and to promote health. But unfortunately, the problem has been so far that when we think about vaccines, more vaccines are used in rich countries than in poor countries, even though the need is really in the poorer countries. We have most of the disease and much less of the vaccines. And it's important to remember that vaccine recipients, and this is pointed out particularly for SARS-CoV-2, are not just children. This is a stage where we need to be using vaccines in everybody. We have vaccines now that work in adults and the elderly. We need to make sure that for SARS-CoV-2, we also make sure that these vaccines can be used in children, pregnant women, and other special groups. So in response to Ebola, the World Health Organization had done some preparedness work. And one of the reasons we are doing well with SARS-CoV-2 is because of this preparedness. They had established the WHO R&D blueprint, which every year identifies a list of priority diseases against which preparedness needs to be built. And one of the diseases that the WHO identifies is not a named disease, but disease X, a disease that is unpredictable, a disease that we don't know where it will come from and what we will need to be able to handle that disease. So this is a list of all the named diseases, 10 of them. COVID-19 made the list this year. But this year, again, to remind us that this is not the last pandemic that we will see. Disease X is back on the list. And the idea here is you make the priority list of pathogens, make the roadmap for what research and development needs to be done and what kinds of tools and products are going to be required so that we can handle this disease as a global community, not just working by ourselves. In addition to the WHO blueprint, an organization was set up called the Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovations, and it had 3 approaches that needed to be implemented. One was to make sure that there was research and development in response to new outbreaks, that resources of industry, academia, government, philanthropies, and NGOs were coordinated, and that we had platform technologies that could be used against multiple different pathogens so that we could make vaccines quickly. So in CEPI's strategic portfolio, we were very lucky that MERS coronavirus was a virus that was already included in the portfolio, and vaccines were being developed against MERS as well as against disease X. So when SARS-CoV-2 hit last year, we were not going from a standing start. The WHO had prepared the R&D blueprint, and CEPI was already working on vaccines for MERS and for disease X. So now we have vaccines that are on many different kinds of platforms, new technologies, the vectored vaccines, DNA and RNA vaccines, as well as older technologies that look at the whole virus or part of the virus. There are literally 200 vaccines that are in development. We started with 320, and we are at a stage today where effectively 1 year after the pandemic, we have 8 vaccines in limited use and 4 vaccines that are in full use, and many, many more to come. Some vaccine programs obviously have not been successful, but we are in a really good place today. And we have been able to do this because the science of vaccinology has really delivered. Vaccines work. When we developed a target product profile in May of 2020, we were not very ambitious. We said 50% efficacy, not more than 2 doses, usable in adults, and every vaccine we have meets that target. We have a list of vaccines with efficacy data, and they are on 4 different platforms. We have mRNA vaccines, adenovirus vectored vaccines, inactivated vaccines, subunit vaccines, and all of these vaccines are working really well. So what was different between the past, where we had little preparedness, the present, where we had some level of preparedness from CEPI and WHO, we had preparedness from these organizations, but we also had governments that were very generous with funding. So vaccine development usually goes very slowly because money is a challenge. Vaccines fail quite frequently. 1 in 10 vaccines that comes into humans usually reaches the market. But this time, every problem that could be solved by money had financing available. And then the regulators were willing to work with vaccine companies and researchers to make sure that there were no regulatory hurdles on the way. So there have been challenges and continue to be challenges. There's still a lot that we don't know about these vaccines. We don't know, for example, what is a correlate of protection. If I've taken the vaccine, am I protected or not, even if the vaccine has 90% efficacy in preventing disease? We are working on those issues. We think that it's going to be neutralizing antibodies. And even though we have moved very quickly, it has been a difficult time. We don't know everything about these vaccines. That's why it continues to be important to continue to work on these vaccines and understand their performance better, so that next time we have a pandemic, we move even faster. 10 months to a vaccine this time, can we do it in less? Also, learning from what we've done before, can we think about vaccines for every age, for every stage, and vaccines potentially not just for communicable diseases, but vaccines for cancer, vaccines for autoimmune diseases, potentially vaccines for addiction. These are all possible. Science has advanced so much that in terms of thinking about how we can harness the immune system to protect us from diseases, to treat diseases, we have never been in a better place. And there are vaccines also for problems that could have other solutions. Antibiotic resistance is something that is front and center for our country and globally. The challenges are enormous, but so are the opportunities. Vaccines have played a great role in the 20th century, and they will have a huge role to play in communicable and non-communicable diseases in the 21st century. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It's indeed our esteemed honor to listen to you on epidemics and vaccines. Indeed, you are a great personality and inspiration to all. Thank you so much, ma'am. Now, I feel elated to invite our beloved founder and chancellor of VIT, Dr. G. Vishwanathan, sir, to give his presidential address.
Happy International Women's Day to all of you. Our chief guest of today, Dr. Gagandeep Kaur, Professor and the Laboratory Director of the Wellcome Trust Research Laboratory, Christian Medical College, Vellore, and our guest of honor, Mrs. Sailaja Malireddy, our old student and Senior Director of Oracle Corporation, USA, our Vice Chancellor, Dr. S.V. Kotareddy, Vice President, Dr. Shekhar Viswanathan, Executive Director, Dr. Sandhya, Registrar, Dr. Sivakumar, other professors, Mr. Srikant, our old student, the students of VIT AP, very good morning to you. At the outset, let me thank Dr. Gagandeep Kaur for accepting our invitation in spite of our busy schedule. And I also thank Sir Sailaja for participating in this meeting, even though her timing is totally different. There is a Tamil poem, I don't know how many of you can understand that, which says, Mangayaraga Pirapadarke Nalla Matavam Seidida Vendumamma. It means that all of you cannot be born as a woman or a female. Only those who have done enough tapas, penance, they can be born as a Mangai means a lady. That's what the Tamil poem says. It means that to be born as a woman, you should be gifted, otherwise you cannot be born. I had the opportunity to work with a kind woman, my wife, and two most powerful women of India and the world. The powerful woman of the world was Indira Gandhi in Parliament, and another powerful woman in the country was Jayalalitha, our Chief Minister, with whom I was a minister. Today, we celebrate the International Women's Day. And the world population today is 785 crores, out of which the males constitute 50.4% and female is 49.6%. In India, it's a bit different. The latest population of India is 139 crores, out of which the males constitute 51.6% and female 48.4%. There is a survey which says that women perform 66% of the world's work. They produce 50% of the world's food, but earn only 10% of the income and own only 1% of property in the world. That's how women are being discriminated in a male-dominated society. Of course, to empower women, there are two things. One is education, the other one is political power. There, I think Asia took the initiative or lead in giving political power. As a whole, out of 194 countries, only 22 countries have women either as head of the government or head of the state. Asia was the first, Africa was the first country to elect a woman, female as a prime minister. Srimavu Bandaranayak was elected in 1960. That's the first prime minister of the world. Of course, then came India when Indira Gandhi was elected prime minister in 1966. All others followed later. Of course, among the present heads of governments, the longest surviving leader is Angela Merkel, the Chancellor of Germany from 2005 onwards. We always talk about women's representation from panchayat to parliament. And as a democratic country, we are supposed to be the world's largest democracy, very much lagging behind in giving representation to women in our parliament as well as legislative assemblies. In legislative assemblies, it's only around 8%, even though they constitute 48-49% of the population. In the Parliament of India, it's only around 13%. We are one of the worst countries in giving representation. The others who are like us are Brazil, Japan, Russia, etc., 14, 15, 16%. But there are countries where they give very high representation. Like Rwanda, there is 61% of women representation. Bolivia gives 53%. Mexico gives 48%. And Grenada gives 46%. I'm only mentioning the top 5. And how are you going to solve this problem? We wanted to give representation to them, even though they are 40, 48, 49% of the population. It was decided to give 1/3 representation to them in assemblies as well as in parliament. And it was in 1996, 25 years ago, a bill was introduced in Indian Parliament when a non-Congress government under Prime Minister Deva Gowda was functioning. From 96 onwards, it is now 25 years, we have seen non-Congress governments, Congress government, BJP government, and Vajpayee government, and now Modi ji government. All these 25 years, we have not passed that bill. Of course, it was introduced in Rajya Sabha and it was passed on 9th March 2010. It went through Rajya Sabha, but it was never voted in Lok Sabha. There seems to be an all-party alliance against giving representation to women. That's what it seems to. Because the ruling party says we support it, the main opposition says we support it, but still it has not seen the dawn. I don't know how we are going to solve this. I think it is time now that all the representatives, there are so many organizations for women, they should ask for it. Of course, men also should come forward. In every election, they issue a manifesto. I don't know whether anybody is interested in this. It is time now that we give them representation, at least 1/3 representation in Parliament and Assembly, so that we will also compete with the advanced nations. Unless women also participate in Parliament, in various parts of the society, like administration, IAS, IPS, judiciary, High Court, Supreme Court, nowhere it is more than 15%. It's all lesser than that. So I would very much like that this bill goes through Parliament, Lok Sabha, because it already passed in Rajya Sabha. And at least in the next election, they should be given 1/3 representation. As far as education is concerned, it is another part which can empower women of the world and particularly developing countries. They are already lagging behind. You know, according to 2011 census, the literacy rate in India was 74%. But if you take as a male and female, the male literacy was 82% and the female literacy was 65%. So we have to go a long way in giving education to them. In fact, as president of the Education Promotion Society of India, which is an all India body, I gave a representation to all the political parties at the time of election to be included in their manifesto that education at the highest level should be given free. Higher education should be free. There are about 30 countries in the world where education is free at all levels. And I also suggested that if it is not immediately possible to offer free education to all, at least let us give it to the girls, the female. They let them get free education to begin with. Later on, it can be extended to the other sex. So far, only one party included in the election manifesto, but it has never implemented. As far as higher education is concerned, the women are doing well. Now they are almost equal. But as a country, we are lagging behind in higher education. Our gross enrollment ratio is only around 26%. Now the new national education policy wants it to take to 50%. I hope it will be possible only if we are going to offer free education, at least to poor and middle class. Otherwise, it will be restricted only to the upper class or a few other people who are living in cities and urban areas. Another important thing which affects the women folk is child marriage. I don't know how many of you are aware of this. In our country, it's a very big problem. 47% of the girls in India get married before they complete 18 years of age. And that's why the problem of teenage pregnancy. About 30% of them give birth to child while they are in teenage. We are trying to stop this, even though the government is trying to do something, but it is a very big problem in our country, which affects women, the female population. It can be stopped by giving them higher education. That's what we are trying in one district, Vellore district. We started a trust called Universal Higher Education Trust. In Tamil, we say, Anavarukkum Uyar Kalvi. And this is an initiative taken by me. Of course, it's a public trust. I happen to be the chairman of the trust, where we ask the girls not to stop with the 10th or 12th. Of course, it applies to boys also. And we have given 6,800 scholarships to those poor students who are mostly from rural areas, out of which 66%, 4,500 are girls. It means that these girls go for higher education, whatever they like or whatever they deserve. It can be a diploma or a degree. Don't stop with class 10 or 12. And by the time they complete, it becomes 19 or 20, and they can easily get married. Instead of going and telling them, don't get married, we tell them, go to college or go to a university. Now it is possible to offer to them at least 4,500 girls have gone for higher education. And it can happen all over the country. Out of 740 districts, only we are trying to do this in one district without the help of the government. It's almost half of the contribution comes from VIT, students, teachers, management, and the rest half is collected from the district. When it can be done in one district, it can be replicated all over the country so that this child marriage can be stopped and teenage pregnancy can be done away with. That's what I want. Ultimately, unless the women participate in the workforce, this country cannot come up economically. We want to become an advanced country. We want to compete with advanced nations, but it's not possible if we are not participating in various parts. At present, the workforce of women in India is only 27%. But in all the developed countries, it's more than 50%. In some countries like Denmark, it is 71%, highest in the world. It means that we should give them opportunity to go for education and an opportunity to work anywhere. And also they must be empowered politically so that they will also come up on par with others. And India can become an advanced country. It is possible only with the help of women. And on this day, when we celebrate International Women's Day, let us decide that we should equal opportunity wherever its time will come. They will also be 50% as far as our students are concerned. Of course, in some courses, some programs, they are 50%, but many of them lagging behind. I hope these states, the southern states, of course, they give much importance to women. I hope we will be able to show the way to other parts of the country. And I thank the organizers, the VIT AP, for giving me this opportunity. And again, thank our chief guest, Dr. Gagandeep Kong, and our guest of honor, Shailaja, for participating in today's meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. We will keep up your vision for women and we will work towards achieving that. Thank you so much. On the occasion of Women's Day celebrations, we have conducted few events. So I request Chancellor Sir, Sandhya Ma'am to honor the students. I'll just list out them and then please congratulate them.
Ma'am, do we put the PPT now?
Yes, yes, sir, please.
The winners, right? Is it there on the screen?
Yes, sir. So for faculty, we have organized cooklicious. So they have come up with the dishes. So for the sweet dish, the winners are like Anuradha, Shahida Banu, and Priyadarshini. And for the hot dishes, Anupama, Dr. Tahia, and Miss Lakshmi. And for the students, we have organized DIY competitions. So we got lovely paintings and pictures. So Bejwada Vaisali and Sri Lekha Mangar Party has got the prizes. And we also have happened to organize the Style Zone, wherein the winners are Alokam Ujjwala Bharti and Anjali Gautam. So these are the winners, ma'am. So we got tremendous response for essay writing. So we couldn't complete on time, but then we will be sharing the winners through email. So please congratulate the winners, Sandhya ma'am.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I congratulate the winners. And I hope next year all others also will participate and get prizes, both teachers and students.
Thank you.
Can we do some scientific articles next time?
Yes, ma'am. Sure, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I would also make that comment, Dr. Anupama. Congratulations to all the winners in the cooking competition and the styling competition. But we just talked about the gender stereotypes, right?
Yeah.
Think of Women's Day, we think of Rangoli competition, cooking competition, fancy dress and all that. But that should change.
Yeah, sir.
So conduct intellectual competitions like.
Sure, sir. Definitely.
Like what you're doing, the essay rating is very good. Similarly, other competitions.
Yes, yes,
I want to congratulate all the winners. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Shekhar, sir. So now I invite our registrar, Dr. CLV Sivakumar, sir, to propose vote of thanks.
Thank you, madam. And this is a moment to propose vote of thanks. Of course, the time is already exceeded. Let me propose vote of thanks, starting with our most respected, beloved Chancellor, sir, for his valuable time. Yeah. Always encouraging us, guiding us, and educating us in many ways. Sir, thank you very much with your blessings of kindness. International Women's Day. Sir, the Madam Chief Guest. We saw Madam Chief Guest yesterday in Eenadu Sunday magazine. It was very, very tremendous and really encouraging to many of us to see that Madam Chief Guest. Entire world happened to recognize Madam very long back. The Eenadu, Telugu Daily, happened to bring Madam's contributions out to society in its Sunday book. Madam, for your valuable time, and in fact, you already made it very clear that you could be here only up to 10:15. You blessed us to be here with us beyond 10:15. Thank you very much, Madam, for your valuable presentations on this occasion of International Women's Day. And of course, Madam Shailaja, our alum, 1991 batch, who happened to take time. Our ED Madam always mentioning us, Madam Shailaja may be joining late, and she will be joining late. We will have to accommodate her again. And this is the opportunity to thank her. Really speaking, the reason, though she happened to rush after completing an event, immediately took time to join this 10 time. Madam, thank you very much for your valuable message. As our VP sir, Madam ED, rightly mentioned that great experiences of your earlier days and today's and tomorrow with your kids. Thank you, Madam, for your inspiring words. And I sincerely thank our Madam ED, Dr. Sandhya. See, the way in which Madam is always encouraging, guiding at every moment. She is there with all of us at every moment while guiding us. She takes time. How best one can do the better job. That is how Madam concentrates. And we are all walking in the footsteps of Madam ED for her valuable guidance every moment. Sir, I take this opportunity to thank our respected, beloved Vice President, sir. Whoever commits mistake, he used to say, let it go wrong. We will see that better next. So this is how the kindness the Vice President sir always showers on us. Sir, with your pleasant, kind moments, we always celebrate your presence itself. I always feel and experience. Thank you, sir, for your valuable presence here. Though we requested you to make a small speech on this occasion, you happen to give opportunity to the occasion where International Women's Day is important. Let them talk. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And sir, this is a nice moment to thank our respected Vice Chancellor, sir. Sir, try to reach campus on time, but we only requested, sir, be at home. The city is not in present moment, so traffic delay will be there. Please at home, be at home. Sir, you happen to make it very clear that everybody is on pace, on time. Thank you very much for your inspirations and kind words on this occasion. We thank all the faculty, staff, students who are all witnessing this event on this August occasion without missing the opportunity. We thank the print and electronic media for their wide coverage of this event. Thank you very much, one and all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, the Women's Day celebration at VIT AP ends. Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Yes, Shailaja, thank you.
Oh, thank you, Chancellor. It's my pleasure to be here.
I visited you long back.
Yes, I think last time when you visited us in Bay Area, right? Probably.
Yeah, yes, I remember I came to your house.
Yes, it's quite some time. You should make a trip after this whole thing ends.
That must be some 10, 15 years ago.
Yes, that was definitely probably longer than that. But I think after that, once probably for an alumni meet, we met again. Yeah.